So the fourth section, it actually deals with spirituality and religion. Now, I know the popular belief that young people today say they're spiritual and not religious. I want to tell you that is not true. That is simply not true. They are spiritual and they identify as spiritual, but they have a need for religion. It's not that they want to be religious. It's not that they have a yearning or an aching or a draw or desire to it, but they need it because of its ceremonies, weddings, funerals, and as we're looking at communion, baptisms, christenings, ordinations, and so on. These things are intuitively human when we really begin to analyze them. Now we're looking at communion. So religion provides a ceremony in which the student, late millennials and Gen Z, can bring their experiences and encounter God, and communion becomes a vehicle or a catalyst that amplifies their experiences. So now students will say, no, I'm not religious, but they'll also say, by default, we need the ceremonies of religion in order to experience the God that we view as real or really real. So I began to look at this, and just to open it up a little bit more, I found that late millennials and Generation Z were genuinely attracted to the communion ceremony. Dr. Robert Webber, many more like him, have documented works out there that will show you that young people are attracted to certain religious ceremonies with the characteristics of community, of participation, of contribution, and what's called liminality. Now, it's one of those snobby words again, but liminality is if you were the priest and I was the participant, you would not be officiating anything and I would not be receiving anything. There would be a moment in time where you and I are not doing anything. It's like a threshold, a crossover from one thing to another. It's the moment before that threshold. Now, the weight of evidence that I found and discovered in the research over these 7 years was that liminality is powerfully attractive to late millennials and Generation Z in the sense that no one had a script for it. No one was leading it. No one was saying this is this and that is that. It was a totally open space. Now, I would like to say that's the time where God shows up and God does what he wants to do. So again, the challenge is not the participant who receives the bread and wine of communion. The challenge is for the pastor, the priest, the bishop, the presbyter, the minister to stop, get out the way, and not interfere with what God is doing with those people that have gathered together. So when you look at spirituality and religion, there is an overlap. And in the overlap is where these present students, late millennials and Gen Z, that is where they thrive. Spirituality and religion, a tremendous overlap that allows them to express who they are and experience God.